The last part of a purchase to pay process is the payment advice. It is a note created to tell the supplier that, hey, you are being paid for the service or the material that you have delivered based on the terms mentioned in the PO and acceptance of the goods. So, a very important part of generation of the payment advice is the three-way match. So the accounts payable department is supposed to match these three documents and then create the payment advice. And the three documents are the PO, the invoice, and the GRN. So what happens here is that the invoice mentions the price and the quantity. And as soon as the, this is all these three documents are generated, the accounts payable department compares the price from the invoice and the price from the PO, and also the quantity in the invoice and also the quantity in the PO. Of course, they do a lot of other checks, including the inspection check, and if the PO still has the quantity to accept these goods, etc. But the dominant is the comparison of the price and the quantity. And if those things match, it is when the payment advice can be generated. Now there are lots of problems in accounts payables where there is some discrepancy, and I've seen discrepancy to be very simple, as in sometimes the PO is for 1 dozen quantity and the invoice states 12 units, and then paying that invoice becomes problematic. But since the idea is that all these documents should match exactly, um, and many companies have manual systems where data is being re-entered and things are regenerated every time, the three-way match becomes problematic, and the number of invoices matched or the payment advice created by accounts payable tends to be pretty low, and the lead time also tends to be very high. So again, we are going back to the thing that we have always been talked about in this series of videos. That ideally, this process needs to be automated. Minimum re-enter of data whenever needed. Data must be shared, and there should be distributed responsibility. Not one person doing it, but different people doing it, so that some kind of making and checking happens. And ultimately, the supplier has to be paid on time for the goods or the services which is delivered by the supplier. Um, if you are interested, I would ask you to Google for purchasing frauds or invoice frauds or accounts payable frauds to see that how weak processes or weak purchase to pay processes can be very problematic for businesses, and maybe that would motivate you to create strong processes for your business. I hope you like this series of video. Thank you for watching.